as a musician, as an artist, as a creator, really anything, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to believe in your project for so long before those opportunities start to happen. But to have someone in your corner like Jared is a blessing for sure. But yeah, I mean, I always try to coach people like, if you want to do something in the creative arts space, like there's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of days where it's not working. It doesn't feel like it's connecting with people. It's not getting out there. You have to keep showing up and being consistent, showing up in the studio, creating your work, getting better at your craft, learning all the new techniques, learning all the facets of the industry and the business. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but it's absolutely worth it. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Path Unfolding. My guest today is Josh Teed. He is a violinist, producer, DJ, and just all around awesome human being. Welcome to the podcast, Josh. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Jesse. I'm doing pretty well, man. It's a beautiful day down here in Denver. How about yourself?
Good, man. Yeah, it's beautiful in Austin. We've got this like spring vibe going on. The weather it's not too hot. So we're enjoying that before it just turns into, the second level of the sun in Austin, Texas. So, yeah, man.
Nice.
Well, I wanted to start with the new album, Taking It All In. Congrats on that. You are prolific, brother. You write a lot. Let's talk about that album. Anything you can share with me about the creation of that one?
Sure, man. Yeah. So taking it all in was a lot different than any body of work that I've put out before. Mostly on the premise that it's a lot vibier and a lot less sound design forward as a lot of the stuff that I've put out in the past was. I think I found myself getting to that point just because when I was sitting down to write a lot of heavier bass music, dubstep kind of stuff, which I still love and will probably always keep making, I just wasn't really resonating with it this last year. Like it felt kind of forced to sit down and try and make it. And a lot of the stuff that I listen to in my downtime is really on that vibey side too. So I don't know, it just kind of was a logical transition from what I was listening to what I was writing.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the benefits of being prolific as you are, and the way that you collaborate with so many people, is you start to have a really broad depth of music and a lot of dynamics. And right, there's music for listening at home or cooking or, laying in bed or chilling on a Saturday or a Sunday morning. And then there's music that you want to hear in the club and flex the sound system. So I think that shows maturity as a producer, and also like for you to listen to yourself and be like, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I want to create. Yeah, man, that's beautiful. I guess for everyone listening, obviously I run Gravitas Recordings, and we've released a good amount of your music, right? We released one of your first EPs, The Journey East, and then we did the album Recurring Dreams. It's been so fun to work with you. It's been so fun to watch your career develop and you blossom as a producer. I think just a reflection for you, you're so positive and so uplifting. Like your energy, the posts that you make on social media are so positive, and like I look forward to seeing your face. I look forward to your smile and your energy. I think that that's contagious. I think that that shows up in the fans that you attract and the people that you attract. So I just wanted to go back to some of those albums, and let's talk about like, Recurring Dreams for me was such a statement of a, I mean, it's 8 songs, so let's call it an album. And I think that's cool that we're sort of like, what is it, an EP or an album? But we had collaborators with Shanghai Doom, right? You had Jason Leach, you had Isaac and Super Future all on that. And then, we had some remixes and things as well. What is your approach, or how do you decide like who you want to collaborate with when you're starting to work with an album or something like that?
Man, really, it's different every time for me. A lot of the times it's with artists that I've already established connections with and, have a pretty good feel for their music. So when I'm in the process of writing something, if I am at a point in writing the track where I feel like this would be a really cool track to get so and so on, like with Nick Superfuture, we'd actually been working on that one tune, Elysian Forest, for a long time, and I was kind of writing more of my world bassy kind of stuff, like that Journey East kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent that to him like almost right after I finished that album up, because that track was gonna go on Journey East, but didn't quite get finished up in time for that. And then when we got to revisit it, it came out really cool, man. It was a really cool blend of both of our sounds, and that's what I shoot for, man. I just want it to be with people who it's not going to be exactly the same sound, so like you won't be able to tell like who did what in the track. I want somebody who's going to bring like their own flavor into the track, and have it mesh
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, man. I wanted to kind of go back. I mean, the premise of the podcast is obviously a path unfolding. I wanted to talk about like you being a trained violinist. Tell me about like now when you're producing, how much do you rely on your classical training, or do you think through that lens a lot now, or are you thinking more just kind of like sound design? You had mentioned that earlier about kind of how you're approaching music now.
So prior to this point, I hadn't really been thinking too much with that. When I was sat down to do recurring dreams was probably the most that I have thought in terms of classical composition, because there's a couple in there, Nightmare Sonata and Recurring Dreams, that really follow some classical composition outlines there. But aside from that, I had pretty much just been writing like whatever feels good. If I have a melody come to my mind, I'll sit down and hash out that melody. I'm not usually thinking too much about the classical component of it.
Hmm.
That being said, though, I haven't really listened to much classical music since I stopped playing in orchestra. It was probably like a
Hmm.
decade ago. And the last few months, I've been sitting down and really listening to some old classical again, and it's given me a lot of inspiration. So I definitely am writing more with that in mind now in the last few weeks than I ever have been, I think.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, and I guess do you ever pull out the violin to write a melody? Is that your go-to, or do you kind of start with the piano? How would you flesh out a melody?
Yeah, so I would originally have done it on the violin. I've been working on my piano game a lot the last year or so, so I'm kind of being able to fluently do that and transcribe melodies from my head down into the DAW on the piano. That's been really
Hmm.
helpful. But man, the day
Okay.
they make a MIDI controller violin, I'll be all over that.
I know, right? Wow. We had Jared, your manager, on A Path Unfolding. He is also like similarly how I just said about you, like he's such a positive guy. I just feel like you and Jared both have that really beautiful spirit and just go get 'em attitude. Is what do you have anything like practices, daily practices, or anything that you do to keep yourself up and going?
So I was really getting in touch with yoga over the last maybe year or so. That being said, I've kind of fallen off since tour started. It's been really hard to maintain schedule, but I try and squeeze it in where I can. I think the big thing for me, man, is just being able to take the downtime when I'm home. Because when I'm touring, I'm doing weekends, and then I come home, and that's like my recharge time. So I get to like spend time with my girlfriend, with the animals, and just that quality time at home, just cooking food, hanging out, enjoying life a little bit. That really keeps you up and at it. And a lot of the time, I think when I'm on the road too, like even when it's like in the slog of it, like taking a 7 hour, 8 hour flight with layovers and stuff overnight just to get there and sound check in the morning. I would still rather be doing that any day than working like in an office or any other job.
Yeah. So just being sort of present to like that you really love what you do and you get to do it. Yeah,
It's a blessing, dude. Absolutely. I mean, there's
absolutely.
millions and millions of musicians out there, and to be able to be at this level where I can almost support myself fully on it and be able to travel around the world and share music with my friends, it's a really beautiful thing. And I've worked a lot of jobs in my life, and none of them were quite doing it for me. And I think Jared was kind of in
Yeah.
the same boat there. Yeah.
What were some of the harder or worst jobs you've had?
Not the worst, but definitely some of the most challenging. I mean, I worked in a special needs boarding school up in New Hampshire for 4 or 5 years, and I was working with a lot of behavioral aggressive clients at the time, so that could be a little challenging. Would definitely wear you down. I was working doubles pretty much 4 days a week too,
Wow.
So I was doing a lot of hours there with a high stress environment. So that was probably the most challenging one.
Whoa. Yeah.
How about you?
The hardest job I've ever done, I've worked on a ranch when I was in high school. So I basically got arrested for vandalizing cars and being a troublemaker. And my mom was like, "Yeah, we're done with that." And so she was like, "You're gonna work a job." And she found my one of my friends owned a ranch, and so I was basically making barbed wire fences out on in West Texas in the heat for, I don't know, 13, 14 hours a day. And they would harass me too because I was also kind of like the weird guy. And so one time they left me out there by myself to work on this fence. And so I finished my job, and then like on kind of the last one, I sat down by this post and I was like, "What's going on? My pants feel wet." And I had sat in a giant pile of cow shit. And so I was like, my pants were
No.
wet. And so I went over to the trough, the trough, the water trough, and I washed my pants. And then they were all wet. And so I climbed up a little bit on the windmill. And so I'm basically running around in my underwear and my shirt, and my pants are flying off of the windmill. And then they drive up, and of course they're calling me all these names, like you're what are you doing running around naked in our rants? So yeah,
Oh,
that
man.
was definitely the
Mom,
worst job.
yeah, mom almost sent you to military school. I was like one step under.
Yeah, yeah. What was school like for you? Were you good? Did you like
Horrible,
school? You hated
horrible,
it? No.
horrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not my thing, man. No, I don't know. My whole life, I kind of had this weird thing with authority. Like if somebody was telling me to do something, I was absolutely going to do the exact opposite of that,
Yeah.
and that didn't really make school a great experience, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you get in trouble? Did you get in like
Yeah,
detentions and things like that?
yeah, yeah.
I also had a lot with that. I was in honors classes. I did well in school, but I was always getting in trouble. I was always pissing my teachers off, and I got in a couple fights, and I had to go to like the secondary school, and they almost arrested me. So I think that's probably a common theme with musicians and artists, or sort of rebels.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just going against the status quo. I mean, that's like kind of the same deal with what I was saying with like I haven't worked a job that I really felt called to, and like none of the 9 to 5 things really feel like they would give me fulfillment in life. It feels like a lot of the stuff that's just kind of like going through the motions. Like school is just preparing you to go through a life of going through the motions, and a lot of the jobs out there are the same.
Yeah, I agree. It's sort of like, I think what people say about it to some extent is like it feels like they're programming you, right? The goal used to be sort of like to create these factory workers or, knowledge workers. And now we've got AI and these other things coming. It's like we need people that can think and be creative. We need people that are innovators and they're inventors and, programmers. Like that is what I think the world needs right now. We need to think our way throughout some of these crazy problems we're dealing with.
Absolutely, and I feel like people who are creatively minded and innovative like that are always going to struggle with the hard outline that the school
Mm,
system carries. Like
mhm.
there's always like a set method of how they got to do things, and if you don't fit into that method, then you're kind of the outlier on it. But
Yeah.
once the educational system, maybe hopefully fingers crossed, starts to adopt some new methodology there, maybe it'll be more accessible for people like us.
Yeah, Savage and I were talking about this on the last podcast. We were talking about there's a crazy amount of dark sides to AI, and lots of people are going to lose their jobs or be, not have the same jobs they did. But we were thinking if you're able to take a teacher and then use that sort of that cloning methodology where same voice and same stuff, and then you could actually have AI teachers that understand how this person likes to learn. They're a visual person, or they're a spoken word person, or they're a written instruction person, and then they start to engage each and every person in that way. Like that would be actually an incredible usage of AI and sort of this new world we're living in. I wanted to ask you. I just recently got a tattoo, and I remember when we hung out when you were in Austin, you had a couple tattoos. Do you want to show us any, or I think you may have gotten a new one recently too.
Sure, yeah. My friend Beth up in New Hampshire has done this sleeve here, and I'm gonna get some more work on it when I go back up to see her next. And then my friend Ayana down in Denver, this is her first one. Here, let me get you a good angle of it. The
There you
little
go.
dragonfly and the mushrooms, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
my brother
cool.
Charlie. Yeah, my brother Charlie's done a couple stick and pokes on my legs too. But I'm actually getting one when I come down to Austin for the Eclipse the day after I play.
Oh, nice. Where are you gonna go?
My friend Elijah Solis down there has a really cool spot. Makes some great line work stuff, and he said he was gonna hook it up. So I said whatever he wants to do, just go for it, man.
Sick, dude. Nice.
Yeah, it should be
Very
fun. What'd you
cool.
get, man?
I got one from, let's see if I can get it. So this is Josh Uoff from the Glitch Mob. I know it's upside
Hmm.
down, but yeah, so this is a match, and then there's sort of like the empty negative space, and then there's sort of stars in the universe. And yeah, I got this one. I got it from my mom. I got it. It was all about my mom's passing and sort of this idea of like our souls are these like condensed energy of the match, and then our lives are like the flame, and then when we pass away, it's like all the energy and the smoke goes up into the universe. So yeah, it was really cool. And Josh is he's a really great artist, and he's just a sweetheart of a human being. And like halfway through the session, I had like a little cry for my mom, and we were like really, I was telling stories about her, and it was just, I had always like wanted to get some tattoos. I have a lightning bolt on the back of this arm that was for a cat that passed away, and also kind of in tribute to lightning in a bottle, which I'm actually going to get to play, and you're going to get to play as well. So yeah, we're going to get to hang out, man. We're going to get to do the eclipse together. I'm running the moon stage. You're playing the moon stage, and then we're going to play the stacks. And then I would say, not too long, you're going to be on Thunder rocking it with us on the big stage, dude. Your career is really bubbling up, and again, it's like I see how hard you're working, and I see the consistency. Like I think that is more than anything that I see with artists that are just slow and steady wins the race. You're putting out great music, you're playing good shows, you're not trying to be bigger than you are, you're not trying to like outshine. You're just doing your thing. You are definitely part of the community. You're collaborating with all sorts of people, like we listed, and just like really making music that I can tell is coming from your authentic heart. I think I can hear a lot of inspiration from people like Govinda and Closey and Of the Trees. But all of that being said, like you have your own sound, you have your own vibe, which is really, it's hard to do that, right? Can you talk about a little bit about what was there a moment as a producer or kind of where you started to feel like, you were making music and getting better and kind of learning your craft, and then there was a couple songs maybe where you were like, I finally feel like I am my own artist, like I'm making the music you wanted to make. What did that ever happen for you?
Definitely, definitely. Like I feel like Journey East was the step like on the precipice of that. Like I was just about there. Like I was really happy with the music that I was making, but like Journey East, that whole EP was all collaborations.
Mm.
So I
Yep.
feel like that none of that was really like my specific sound. And then with Recurring Dreams, I feel like I really found it there, and I've been able to kind of take that and run with it since.
Yes. And I think the other thing that I see with your approach, right, is you're able to work with labels and then do your own independent releases, which I think is a really smart strategy for artists that are kind of in your world. It's like work with a label, learn from them, and learn about maybe some of the ways that they do it, tap into their audience, kind of see what they do well and maybe what they don't do well, then go do your own self-release, do the, kind of level up, keep more of your percentage, keep more of your master royalties, and have that ownership of your music, which I think is very important. And then maybe, zig back. You've worked with Odyssey, you've worked with Gravitas. What other labels have you worked with?
Oh man, Gradient Perspective. So we had an EP with Star Fox Kevin that came out on TGP as well. Also put out stuff on Aspire Higher. Wormhole too was really great to work with.
Yeah, I mean I think that's great, right? It's just the lesson of being continuing to be independent, not getting too locked into any one label or any one camp. Like you definitely have great support from Odyssey, Closy's label, and obviously great support from us at Gravitas. Like that, but you're still your own. You're still your own artist, right? Which is, I think, is really important.
Yeah, I feel like a big thing for me on this path so far has really been thinking about the sustainability of it. Because, like I said, I haven't found any other job on the earth that I'd rather be doing than this, and I plan to be doing this for the majority of my life. So if I can build up to be sustainable and have it be something that I can always do and just keep growing sustainably and gradually at like a good clip, I'd rather do that every time than pop off overnight and flame out
Yeah.
like quickly after. Like the more I can build it up, the better. Like I was on the road with the Dirt Wire guys, and I really came to appreciate them and what they've built up over the years. And
Mm.
honestly, I would kind of love to go that route with it. It's like you see them, they don't really have like a huge social media presence, but they're selling out shows left and right, which gives me a lot of hope that you don't need to put all that stock in social media, and you can just build by releasing and playing shows over time and build up a good steady fan base, because they've definitely done that too.
Absolutely. I don't know if you know, but I used to manage them as well.
I
And
had no clue. That's cool.
right. So I managed Closey, and then that led me to managing Beats Antique, and then David Satori of Beats Antique. It was also part of Dirtwire, so we took on Dirtwire. It wasn't that long, but I think now it's Evan and Mark, and sometimes David will come back and play a little bit, and I think they sometimes have a woman that plays with them as well. But it's mainly just Evan and Mark, and like I 100% agree with you, right? It's about putting on such a fun show, the dynamics. Like they learned a lot. I think were inspired a lot by the Beats Antique show, where it's a show. It's not a set. Like there's what's going to happen next. Okay, now we're doing drums. Okay, now we're doing this crazy Indian war song and we're going to battle. And it's like those are very memorable moments. And I think about a lot of sets, DJ sets, and there's not all that many memorable moments. And I think that's as a live performance, presenting it in that way where there's these really memorable moments and change of costumes or change of mood and dynamics. Like that's such a powerful way to present the music, and obviously the beats and the music are dope. So that's awesome, man. What how many dates did you do with them?
I think we were on the road for 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure we did 8.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a blast, man. They were a huge inspiration behind me doing what I'm doing for this tour right now, for taking it all in, honestly. Like I've expanded on the instrumental front. Like I'm doing a drum pad, keys, and violin for it too.
Wow.
And yeah, seeing them do what they do, I was like, man, I could really do more with this live thing. 'Cause there's chunks of it when I'm playing violin, but then there's other chunks that I'm just DJing, and it gets a little boring sometimes. So I
Right.
don't know. It feels like something to keep my hands going. Cause I'm not like a crazy DJ. I'm not mixing doubles and like chopping between stuff, but there's people who are really great at that, and it's an art form in and of its own. But that's not my art form. So it's just finding
Yeah.
more stuff that I can like keep myself busy with on stage, and also, like you said, present more of a like an engaging, interactive show for people.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I love that, man. I think the idea, like, like you have moments in this set where you can come out and show yourself playing the drums or the piano, and people see that that's happening for real and that you can play and perform and there's instruments on stage. I think that's such an opportunity and a critical thing for a lot of us to take on. The last Pretty Lights tour, I mean, I think that showed what's possible and how much, right? How much we're all dying to see something of that caliber. Wow, look at everybody's playing together. There's improvisation. There's still a rough outline of what we're going to do, but it's really happening in real time. That's so fun. Nice, man.
Hmm.
That's great to hear. I love that. So I saw you just dropped is this your first vinyl?
Yes, sir. First one.
Nice. Great, man. It looks really cool. I like the artwork. I like the splatter. Any reason that you decided to do that one? You just feel like it was time?
Yeah, and I feel like this EP really lent itself more towards a vinyl than any of the other ones that I have. We had thought about it in a couple other circumstances, but I felt like the music just wasn't quite right to
Mm.
go on vinyl. So I mean, you could do bass music on vinyl for sure, but I wanted the first one to be something different and something a little special. And the design on it and everything was all meant to incorporate with the album artwork. Like we kept it to the black and white theme there, and we even like took the sun from the artwork and put it on the center of the vinyl.
Yeah, it's cool looking. And then now you got a pretty healthy tour lined up. What all you got going on there?
It's been really cool so far, man. In keeping with the spirit of the new EP, the tour sets have been a lot more down tempo and kind of vibier.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it's been really cool to see the response that people have to it when they come to a show expecting, like what I've usually played in the past being like heavier bass music and stuff that has a lot more energy. It's been really cool to see people tap into the more emotional side of music and connect with it on a different level. Yeah, and we've me and my buddy Jake, we sat down for a couple months ahead of time too, and put together visuals for the set that line up with it, like second by second too,
Okay.
just to put together.
Are you running the visuals or is he running them for you?
Nope, they're already like set up and ready
Okay.
to go. Yeah,
Nice.
so I've got the whole set for the tour all like lined up already. So I'm not really DJing while I'm playing it. It's all set up to go right with the visuals, and then I'm jamming along with all the other
Perfect.
stuff while I do it.
So are you running that through Ableton or CDJs or what?
Yeah, running the tracks through CDJs,
Okay.
and then I'm running my keyboard through FL Studio in Analog Labs. So I have a bunch of different synth patches that I'm playing through there. And then the drum pad is a standalone, and that goes out by itself, and so does the violin.
Nice. Nice.
Mhm.
That's awesome, man. Well, like props on pushing yourself and adding more to that. I think that's like you said, like if you're having fun, they're having fun. If people can see you vibing and cracking up there and really getting down, it translates. It's I've seen people that are kind of faking it and pantomiming sets, and you could just feel it. It just doesn't. I don't feel like it translates, and I think that's really a great way to build like true fans. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of tend to lose myself a little bit in these tour sets. That's what I've been noticing. Like the set will start, and then like I'll blink and it's over. Like I don't know, I kind of just I kind of go into like a flow state with it almost, just being able to move in between everything. It's really really fun and a lot different than what I've been doing. I'm not sure that I'll keep doing it past this tour. It's probably just going to be for this tour. Just because, man, it's a lot of stuff to bring flying.
Yeah.
Like I'm bringing the keyboard case, and everything, suitcase, violin case, backpack.
Do you know about the airline media pass?
No.
Okay. So go online and search for airline media pass. If you print this out and you put your company name or even your artist name, and then you put media on it, it also needs a barcode. That will keep your bag fees limited. I believe it's a law that says they can't charge you extra. And so like for American Airlines, let's say like a normal bag is like $50, right? If you're overweight or you have too much, it's like 100 or $150, right? It gets really crazy. These media badges can save you so much money. So what's next, man? What besides the tour, like what else do you have going on? What do you think about for the future?
Man, I've already got my mind on the next album. I've been sitting down to start working on that, as well as thinking about ideas to kind of up the live show more. I'm definitely going to lean really hard into the classical side of things on this album, and I really want to put together almost like a chamber orchestra live kind of situation. Like I've already got a string quartet lined up that I'm going to use for it, and then probably some brass players as well. But I want to really kind of lean into that. Yeah, I've seen Apache doing his thing, and it's a really big inspiration, man. Because it's like I used to hate playing an orchestra, but to get to write all the stuff for it and then see it come to life would be really special.
Dude, that is so cool. I hope you pull that off. Honestly, I will say this right now. Let me help you. Whatever you need, if you want to do that project, I am so down. Like to me, this could be the game changer. This could be the thing that really sets you apart. You mentioned Apache, like how many people? He had like 10 people on tour with him, right?
Yeah, he had like a whole brass section.
That is wild. Yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
his whole thing is based on that classical sort of fusion with bass music. I think he does it really well. I've actually never seen him live. Have you seen him play live?
Nope, me
No.
neither.
Yeah, I missed that tour. I think he might have even hit Austin and I missed it. But his agent is the same agent as Clozy's, Mary Allen. And I remember when she picked him up, he definitely was not where he's at today. But I was like, oh, that's a really good pickup. And he's super talented. And she is a fantastic agent. If you ever get a chance to work with her.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like she does a great job with everybody she works with. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
she's got Zingara. I think she might have Ellis Dream. A lot of like the people that work with Brandon Ginsburg, who's Clozy's manager now as well. Like there's sort of this like dynamic duo, Mary and Brandon killing it together. So that's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But I think, like I said, I think Jared, your manager, is you guys are such a great team. I love the story because, you guys have been together for a while. He super believes in your project. I think that is like one of the best, sort of music stories when a really talented artist finds a manager that really believes in them and really goes to bat for them. I want to hear the story of how you guys met and started working together. I know he told a little bit of it in our podcast, but I want to hear it from your side.
Man, for sure. I mean, just before I dig into the story too, it was like you had commented on earlier how I was kind of building up a circle of people around me who are like in a similar mindset. And that's something that I really look for, man, is if it's people that I'm going to have involved in working with the project, I want it to be people that really believe in the project, believe in where the direction of it's going. That's like one thing that I'm super grateful for Gravitas about is like no matter which direction I've taken my music in, you guys have like been wholeheartedly behind it, and that means the world for real. But yeah, man, meeting Jared. So I put out a track called Sleep with the Gradient Perspective. Man, I want to say it was 5 years ago now. And I was being managed by this company called Aspire Higher out of Philadelphia at the time. And I'd hit Jared up before I started working with them looking for management. And granted, I wasn't really at the point in my career where management was necessary, like looking at it now in retrospect. But like I had booked my first tour by myself. And I was like, okay, that was pretty good, but I bet with management, with some help on that front, we can make it better. And after that contract with Aspire Higher was up after a year, I hit Jared back up again, and he like jumped on it immediately. And we've been working together for I think 4 years now, 3 or 4 years. But I didn't actually meet him in person until like I want to say it was like 2 years into working together almost.
Really?
It was like, yeah. It was down at Yonderville in West Virginia. We got to hang for the weekend there. It was like, wow, yeah, this is like one of my best friends, dude. Like we connected like instant. Like we've been, just working together for years on years already.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's really, yeah, I'm so lucky to have that dude though. For real, like Jared is amazing and put so much time and effort into this project. Like as much as I put into it, Jared puts into it, which is really special to have.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so funny that you guys hadn't met I've had that with Gravitas artists where I've worked with someone and put multiple releases out and then like never actually shaken their hand or given them a hug. And then you meet in your person. I mean, you've obviously Zoom is a thing now. So we've at least seen each other and heard each other's voices, but that is such a crazy world we can live in where you can be working with someone for years and then be like, I've actually never been in the same room as you.
Well, dude, I think it was the same for us too, wasn't it? Like we got to. Was that time in Austin at Voodoo Room the first time we got into like hang out in person?
Yeah.
Like 2 albums later.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and I think I would say for advice, like that is such a cool that, like I said, to find somebody that's in the same trajectory and same place as you are in your career, and you guys can grow together. That is a really magical relationship when you can find somebody like that and make that happen. Because I think in some cases, like we were just talking about Clozy and Brandon Ginsburg or whatever, like Brandon works for Red Light. He's done all these big acts. And so, he's picking up people after they've been in the industry for a while. And that makes perfect sense for someone like Clozy or these other acts where they have all this stuff going on and Red Light has like, digital people. But when you're really starting off, you want somebody that's like in the trenches with you. And I think Jared
somebody that's hungry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jared's a fantastic example of that.
Yeah, man. I feel like honestly, if it wasn't for Jared, I might not even be doing music at this point. So
Wow.
like he's really like held me through it sometimes. Like it was easy to get discouraged over the years once or twice, you know, and like anytime I was on the precipice of like, yeah, maybe I'm gonna take like an indefinite hiatus and be done with music for a little bit. Jared's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
worked way too hard to get to this point. Don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I said that too, is like, it's, as a musician, as an artist, as a creator, really anything, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to believe in your project for so long before those opportunities start to happen. But to have someone in your corner like Jared is a blessing for sure. But yeah, I mean, I always try to coach people, like, if you want to do something in the creative arts space, like, there's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of days where it's not working. It doesn't feel like it's connecting with people. It's not getting out there. You have to keep showing up and being consistent, showing up in the studio, creating your work, getting better at your craft, learning all the new techniques, learning all the facets of the industry and the business. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but it's absolutely worth it.
It
Yeah.
is. It is, man.
Yeah.
Nothing I'd rather be doing at the end of the day.
I love
I
that.
always tell myself that, man. Like, I don't know, I feel like the things that I get discouraged about, it's nothing to do with you like rejection or anything like that. I've always handled that pretty well.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's more like the social media and like the whole like social aspect of it that kind of gets me and a lot of people that I know bummed about it a little bit sometimes. Because for a lot of creative people and a lot of artists, we just want to be able to create our art, do what we love, and just really put all of our energy and focus into that. And we live in a day and age now where like social media is a necessity. Like
Yeah.
I've definitely come to grips with that over the years. Like it or not, you're gonna have to do it if you want
Hmm.
to be able to grow. But to the extent that you have to do it is kind of up to you. And I've been trying to minimalize that as much as I can for both the sake of my mental health and for the sake of just being able to focus my time and energy more into the art too.
Yeah. I think you do a good job with it. I think again, you put on a smile and you put a positive thing out into the world. One of the things I like to say is, like, social media should work for you. You don't work for social media. And it's like,
Absolutely.
don't get it caught up in feeling like you have to create a new piece of video content every week or every day. Like, I think the people that do the best are the ones that sort of take a step back, pick their punch, make their art, and then come out. And, the algorithm doesn't reward it, but if you make something that connects with people, then I think that trumps the algorithm, for sure. And I think also, like, too, right, for you or for others, is like, pick the platforms or the places that are more your speed or the thing that you resonate with.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, dude. Like I've pretty much just foregone Twitter entirely at this point. Like Twitter and me don't vibe, dude. But I found a good following on Facebook and Instagram and those things. So that's what I stick to. It's kind of the
Exactly.
easiest, and I don't have to like force myself to just think of things that I wouldn't normally think of or put forth a persona that's not me. I can just be like authentically myself on those, and that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. I wanted to go back and ask about thinking in stories and how you've created at least for recurring dreams, that was based on, I believe, a dream that you had. Will you tell me about that?
Yeah, that one was based on this recurring dream that I had my whole life, dude. I haven't had it in the last few years, but
Ah.
it was about me walking through this forest, and then I would get to this lake pond sort of thing, and there was a pathway going through it of stone stepping stones, and I would walk through the pond on those stones, and I would get to this little island in the middle of it that would have a stone altar, and every time I would walk up to the altar to go see what it was, I would wake up from the dream. Yeah, and we actually incorporated a lot of that into the visuals for the tour sets too. We were able to like get the stone altar, like the forest, everything in there. It was really cool to be able to build around it.
I wonder, and you said you haven't had the dream in a while.
Hmm.
You think it's after you put out that
I think
it
I
stopped?
since I put it out, I haven't. Yeah.
Wow. Are you having any new dreams?
Oh, I have crazy dreams all the time. No recurring ones lately, though. No.
Okay. Have you ever tried, what is it, lucid dreaming? Or you feel like you are doing lucid dreaming?
I've never like tried to apply myself to it. I'm familiar with the concept.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never done it either, but it sounds crazy, right? To like, I mean, maybe I don't even know what it is, but I believe it's like you are trying to train yourself to actually be more of like the main character in your dream, right? You can sort of take control and actually go do things.
Yeah, make yourself the conductor a little bit and be able to control the
Ah,
dreams. Yeah.
that's wild. I don't know, man. I think you might want to practice it. I think.
I maybe, dude. I don't know. The dream state is a crazy one. I find so much interest in that, man. Like our subconscious is so wild and puts so many crazy scenarios in our minds that you like would
Right.
never possibly exist in real life. But
Uh,
yeah, man, to be able to control that would be crazy.
I've heard like if you smoke a good bit, you usually won't remember your dreams. And then I hear when people like stop smoking weed, then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Holy cow, I'm dreaming again." Have you ever experienced that?
Dude, I smoke weed before bed like every night and still have these crazy ass dreams that I remember every time. But I
Okay.
bet I bet if I stopped smoking weed, they would be absolutely unhinged. Yeah.
My wife says I don't think I do this as much, but I used to walk and talk in my sleep, and then for a while it was mostly laughing. And my wife was like, "I am so mad at you. You have like a second life that you're living when you go to bed, and you're having so much fun." And she only has like stress dreams and anxiety dreams where like her teeth are falling out
Oh
or fucking
no.
trying to pack for a fucking, vacation or something. And it's like, she's like, I hate you so much. You have so much fun in your dreams, and I don't have any fun in mine.
I
We
feel
were
like it,
first, what? So good.
so it definitely like picks up on your mood and like your conscious state. You know, like I know anxious people who are like anxious during the day and then have crazy anxious dreams at night too.
Yeah.
You know, like
She
whatever.
is a bit of an anxious person. When we first started dating is when she was like, you talk in your sleep a lot. And I was like, well, and I was still in college. I was like 23 years old, and I had a tape recorder that I used to take. That's how old I am, but a tape recorder, and I would take it to class, and I figured out that it had a sensor where if you could leave it on and it was voice activated, and so it would start to record when people started talking. And so we set it up one night, and it was mostly gibberish, but the one that came out, it was, I was like, hey, don't put that thing in that guy. And we she was like, what are you dreaming about?
Oh, man.
That's funny. Don't put that thing in that guy. So
Yeah, you can't do
don't do that.
that. You ever tried dream journaling?
I have, and I'm, it's bringing it up for me. I'm like, man, I ought to do this more often, but I haven't really been remembering my dreams. And I'm like, as I'm thinking about it, I haven't remembered a dream in a good long while. So I don't know. Maybe I need to, chill out on the weed a little bit or something. So, oh man. Well, that's cool. I love the idea of like having a dream or having a this like story. Not even just like taking the dream and then writing to it, but just I really like concept albums. I really like thinking about like this is where we're at and now we're going here and this song connects to this song. A couple people on the podcast, Defunk and Bass Physics, they both wrote these albums that were kind of during the pandemic about going to space and the journey. And I was like, wow, you kind of guys both had the same idea. But yeah, do you think like that when you write songs? Do you think about, I mean, other than recurring dreams, you have other stories and ideas that come visually, and then you write to that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the EP that I put out called The Jungle, it was 3 tracks. That one was definitely the most concepty that I've gotten with any body of work before, but that one
Hmm.
I went through and wrote out like a whole storyboard to a movie pretty much
Oh
in,
wow.
in my head, like a short thing. It wasn't like hundreds of pages long by any stretch, but it was kind of about how this guy was just walking through life, like waking up, going through the motions and everything. And then he's walking home from work one day and he opens up this door on the side of the road. And when he goes through the door, it transports him into this beautiful place. And he experiences so much in nature that when he goes back to real life, on just like the daily grind on Earth. When he comes back into it, he just doesn't find it suitable anymore. He doesn't find it fulfilling, and then he goes
Mm.
back looking for that door again, and he just goes through it and never comes back. That was the whole storyboard to it.
Ah, I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Yeah, that's some sci-fi stuff right there.
Mhm.
That's fun. That is really fun. I guess the thing I'm thinking about is just like using these muses, these ideas to write, and sort of the creative constraint, or it gives it the, sort of using that as the tone or the mood of where we're coming from, right? So if I was just to sit down and like try to write a song, that's like there's so much available to you. But if you kind of have this concept of this movie in your head, then you can start to really like, almost like articulate the mood with the music.
100%, man. Have you had the chance
Mm.
to ever get down and chat with the Cohen Sound guys before?
No, I would love to.
You absolutely should. Their new album, led by Ancient Light, was probably like one of the best pieces of concept work I've ever heard. To be honest, that was
Yeah,
so good.
absolutely. I own the vinyl. I played their one of their the intro song was the intro to one of my sort of mixes as of late, and I mean the sound design and the concept is so amazing. I didn't get to see their tour, but Maya, who works for Gravitas, also works for Compass, and they manage them.
Hmm.
And so yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're legends in their own right, all the way from back in like the glitch up days. So like they're just true innovators, 100%.
Yeah, I remember chatting with Jim about it, and he was telling me that they pretty much wanted to sit down and like make a whole soundtrack to a movie that they had written up, and each track had its own plot to it throughout the plot of the movie as a whole. And it was really cool to see how they like orchestrated and illustrated that through music.
Mm, yes. Well, man, I hope that you get to go into your idea of really, hiring more players for your music. Like, do you have, if you were gonna like go down that rabbit hole, like, what do you have any more ideas about what you want to do there?
Yes, I think it would be exclusively like a one tour thing for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it's an idea to revisit a few times throughout the span of my career for sure. But I'm in terms of what I'm thinking of right now, it's just this next album. I've already got some stuff that really translates well to that kind of setting, like some of the things from Recurring Dreams, a couple other tracks as well that are pretty orchestral that would be easy to transcribe into that kind of music. But yeah, I really want to just keep that next step ahead of me, not think too far ahead out,
Yeah.
but just try and get that one nailed down because it's going to be a big undertaking for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, getting it all into sheet music too is going to be its own thing, and then going through and getting all the stage specifications right and all the different live performance elements of it and how it's going to be all hashed together. I might even have to like pick up Ableton Live for that, honestly, depending on how we're going to run it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Opio did that for a couple Red Rocks tours. He's done the orchestra, and
Hmm.
like, I mean, the way that he talks about that is like it was like the single greatest undertaking of his life. Like he was like, I had no idea, or maybe he did, but I just remember him saying like, "Man, I've worked so hard on this." But yeah, I mean, I hope you can do it because I mean, with your background, with your training, right? It seems like such an opportunity for you to flex that muscle and showcase those talents and that writing and the scoring and sort of like we were been talking about thinking in this visual concept.
Hey, what have you got coming up on the horizon that you're excited about, huh?
We are gonna do an EP with Little Fish, and he is working really hard to get a visa. He wants to come to America. They've got some tour dates. It's harder than it ever has been to get a visa to come to the U.S. It's harder than it ever has been to like book shows and get some of that going. There's it's just it's very competitive. Savage is a big fan of Little Fish, so we're hoping that we can do some pairings with them and put them out there. He's working with Prism Agency, so I'm all in on him. I mean, he's obviously collaborated with Closey, and he makes just amazing music, and it's been challenging to get him over to the U.S. So I'm really hoping that he gets the visa and all that happens. I mean, for Gravitas in general, we're really just slow and steady wins the race. Really excited about a lot of the artists that we're working with. We've been working with Akriza, really love him. We did an album with him and Mazatar. Excited about everything that you're doing. We've got this one album coming up with a guy named E-Course. It is really, really good, man. And like, I'm just really excited because I think one of the things that we're really good at is kind of breaking the next generation and next group of artists. And so like he's not from America. I think it's really exciting to work with him. And then we've locked in, we're working with this guy Fervor, who you may know. He's really talented. And then we're going to do a release with Michael Minert and his side project Wooden Flowers, and his collaborator, I believe his name Alex. And so that's really excited. We're going to be working with Jared on that one as well.
Awesome.
And I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, Michael Minert is, one of the co-founders of Pretty Lights and was part of Pretty Lights. And then some really challenging things happened and ended up just being Derek Vincent Smith. But on this recent tour where Pretty Lights came back, Michael Minert was part of that project and playing as part of the band. And sort of this whole reconnection of the Pretty Lights world, which was amazing to watch. I've always been a fan of Michael. He's incredibly talented. The Wildebeest guys who have released on Gravitas, they played in his band. I believe they played at Red Rocks. So it's all full circle. I mean, this community goes so deep. Really stoked on High Step Society. They moved out to New Orleans. And so they've been living there as a band and writing a bunch of music. They're going to be at the Texas Eclipse. By the time this comes out, the Eclipse have probably come and gone, but that's insane. That's just in my backyard in Austin. So we get to run the Moon stage, and we'll see. I'm very nervous because of the sort of influx of people. I think there might be up to 30,000 people at this, and then in total, probably at least 150,000 people in the area. Yeah, and so like Austin and the area, Burnett, I believe Texas has already declared it a national emergency or a state emergency. So there'll be like, whatever the National Guard will be on standby. And I mean, it's kind of like, to get into the Eclipse Festival, I believe is just a 2-lane road, one road in and one road out, which to get that many people in and out of that area is going to be kind of crazy. And I believe the ranch itself is an active shooting range. Obviously the range will shut down during the festival, but some of the emails that I got was like, during these days when people are actually building the festival, the shooting range will still be going on. I'm like, okay.
Oh boy.
So hold my beer. It's Texas, we'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, Texas gonna Texas, man, for sure.
Yeah. And then Lightning in a Bottle is always amazing. Like I said, you and I are gonna get to play Stax. Mnemonic, who works for Gravitas, he's the marketing manager. He's been making a bunch of tunes. He's been leveling up as a DJ. He's definitely like a fan favorite out in NorCal, San Francisco.
Dude, Nick's music is awesome.
Yeah, man, he's getting really good. And I'll tell you what, he's 100% sober. He works so hard. He's like kind of like you. He's just like infectiously happy and positive and on a good vibe. And I love surrounding myself with people like that, because sometimes I got bad days and I'm like, oh wait, Nick's here. He's got it. And him and I have been working also on Lion's Share Digital on some of the marketing. We're working with a couple festivals, helping them market the festival, running some ads. And then we just launched this brand where, let's see, here it is. So it's probably out of focus, but so this is called Mycocosm Mushrooms, and they've got a couple other. And so we built their website, and we're helping them run some ads. And it's really cool. It's like these mushroom extracts. There's the reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps. And so that one has been really exciting because, they came to us with pretty much a finished brand, and then we helped them launch their Shopify store. And like, just the products themselves are beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. They actually really taste great, and you feel great when you take them. So just like with the stuff that I do with Gravitas, with helping artists, I love to help businesses and entrepreneurs like help launch their projects. That's just everything I do is about that.
Well, thanks for doing what you do, man. I know a lot of people are really grateful for it.
Oh, brother, thank you. Well, man, best of luck. Everybody, pick up a copy of Josh's new vinyl for taking it all in. It's absolutely worth it, and it's a great record. I'm really proud of you, dude. Keep doing what you're doing. I will see you at the Eclipse, and I'll see you at Lightning in a Bottle. And yeah, man, lots of love.
Lots of love for you too, my man. I can't wait to see you out there.
Woo! All right, talk soon.
Yes, sir. Have a good rest of your night, Jesse.